What's up, guys? It's Peyton back with another video, and today we are going to be talking about Dorado Handmade boots, which are a Boot Barn and Sheplers, which is Boot Barn, exclusive, made by Dan Post. So Dan Post is actually the parent company of Dorado, and the reason I want to do this video is because Dorado has such little information out there about them. Other than the Boot Barn website and a few forums and stuff like that, Dorado doesn't really have a very good website. You can't really find a lot of information on them, and you really can't find a lot of reviews on them either. It's very minimal. So we're going to jump right into it. For those of you that have watched my videos, we do it all in one take. So hopefully it goes good. I think it'll be a long video. We're going to run it down pretty quick. And I'm going to tell you what I think about these boots, whether I think they're a good value or not. And yeah, we're just gonna jump into it and start. So a little backstory, these were the first pair of exotic boots I ever bought. I bought these when I was 20, and I have had them since, and I've worn them to the point where I wore a hole straight through the bottom of them where the shank rubbed, and the leather sole was just gone. And when the cobbler resold it, the metal shank that Dorado put in the boots factory was cracked in half. So these boots saw a lot of love. I did not have a rotation of boots at that time. I had a pair of Ariats, a pair of Justins that was almost unwearable, and I had these. So as you can imagine, these pretty much got pulled out for everything, whether it be going to the grocery store, going to the bar, or going on dates or anything in between. It was the Dorados coming out. So jump right into them. Dorados do come with I'm gonna start at the bottom. They do come, most of their boots, 90% of their boots come with a leather sole with a lemon wood peg shank. Obviously these have been resoled with the Vibram V-Bar 700 with brass tacks, but they come with a leather sole, most of them, with lemon wood pegs along the shank. They do come with real stacked leather heels. Pretty good wearing rubber heel caps off the jump. They do come with a removable insole. These are the original insoles. I know they look crusty. I apologize. You can see where my toes have worn them, but this insole is held up well, and I gotta say this is a very comfortable insole as far as insoles go. I'm not super big into insoles. I prefer the hard leather, but as far as insoles go, it's not a bad one. It does have a traditional hard leather footbed underneath this insole. Unfortunately, one downfall of these boots and Dorados in general is they are not channel welted, meaning they do have a canvas gimming going around the underside of the footbed that the welt is sewn to. So that's not the best. However, it's pretty standard on mass-produced boots. These are a very well-made boot. I will say that off the jump. This is a Hornback Caiman. It is a single-piece Hornback Caiman. It is not pieced together with stitch lines. It is a broad square toe. Stock. From the factory, this boot came with a double-stitched welt. When I had them resold by a great cobbler named Ron, who owns EBR Leathercraft in Brighton, Michigan. He's awesome, man. He put a new welt, and I had him do a single stitch because I just thought it cleaned the boot up a lot. The shaft is very supple and soft. I don't know what kind of leather it is. It's so soft, though, it feels like calf skin almost. The lining on these boots, it is a hung leather lining, so you don't have those seams rubbing on you. And I will say one thing about Dorado that I will applaud them for is their lining goes all the way down through the vamp of the boot, and it is the same lining. Like when you run your hand down here, there is no difference between the lining around your foot and the lining around your calf. And it is probably the softest lining of any of my boots. The lining in these boots far exceeds anything in any of my Lucchese's, Blackjacks, Anderson Beans, Tacovas, Rujos, any of that. Rujos is a close second, but I mean, it's soft. It really is very nice, and it really feels good on the foot when you're wearing it. So yeah, Hornback Caiman. One thing El Dorado does is on all their boots where the counter meets the vamp, they have this saddle cutout, this like saddle indentation, V, whatever you want to call it. That is honestly one of my favorite things about these boots. It is noticeably different from other boots. It grabs attention from, you know, relatively decent distances, like across when I'm in a bar or grocery store, or even out just randomly in public. If I see a pair of El Dorado boots, I know they are, because most of the time you can spot that pretty quick if you look at a guy's boots. I normally wear a jean that allows me to see that, at least to a certain extent. But if you wear a giant, you know, boot cut or bucket leg jean, you probably will end up covering that up. So again, beautiful boots. Boots have been extremely hard wearing. Again, I had no problems with the Caiman on these boots. No problem with the shaft. No problem with the stitches, other than a few loose stitches here and there, which just happen over time. Burn them with a lighter, you're back to brand new. These boots were extremely hard wearing. Again, I wore a hole in the original leather sole. The shanks were broke in them. He replaced them with triple rib steel shanks. And these boots have been extremely comfortable and extremely hard wearing. Harder wearing than they needed to be, because I did not baby these boots. I did not condition them the first 2 years I had them. I just wore the hell out of them. They got dirty and dusty and everything in between. So very fond of these boots. El Dorado boots are made in Mexico. The old El Dorado boots, the vintage ones you can find, were made in the USA. El Dorado is made in Mexico, like pretty much, again, Dan Post. Dan Post is all made in Mexico now, with made in China lines, but Dan Post higher end are made in Mexico. Same thing with El Dorados. But they truly are a very comfortable boot, a very nice option if you're looking for something outside of your traditional perennial brands like Lucchese, Anderson Bean, Rio Southern Mercedes. If you're looking at that upper echelon of boots, and you want something that's maybe not the same as everybody else, maybe a little bit different, or maybe these just fit your style. These boots are sharp, in my opinion, and when they're new, they have a special kind of luster to them that rivals Lucchese in the way they look brand new out of the box. So let's talk price. This is one of El Dorado's more expensive boots. El Dorado ranges from about $330, I think, is where their cheapest boot falls right now, which is a tremendous value for these boots, I will tell you. Not the Caimans, but even their all leather versions, $330 for a bill of quality like this, with this lining, with the leather footbed, even with the gimming, with the leather heels. I mean, it really is it's a damn good boot. It ranges from $330 up to $1,000. The $1,000 is $999. It is the American Alligator one. And then it jumps down substantially, and they ride for their exotics in between $550 and $750. These are $749 right now. These are the Hornback Caimans. Again, I credit to El Dorado, but the price is the price, because these were the same price when I bought them back when I was 20, which was over 6 years ago. These are the exact same price now. It's still $749. They were $749 when I bought them. And again, they've held up beautifully. The leather has had no issues. And I really am fond of them, and I'll never get rid of them, if nothing else, for sentimental value. So $750 for these. Their Stingrays are coming in around $650. Their belly Caimans, I believe, are coming in around $650. But I mean, it really is like this Caiman broke in beautifully. It's a very soft boot, very good looking, with a pair of straight leg or boot cut jeans, since it does have that broad square toe. And again, the shaft is just so soft and supple. It really does a good job of not bothering your leg for long days, long walks, long nights out, whatever you got going on. So I think El Dorado is worth a look. I think you guys should check them out if you haven't seen them. Again, I think they're a very understated brand, and I think they don't get half of the recognition that they should. Again, do they cut a few corners here and there? Yes, they do. Pretty much every brand does, including Lucchese. We will get into that at a later date. But every brand's going to cut some corners somewhere until you get to that super premium price range. And that's just unfortunately what you got to deal with. But as far as a boot that'll serve you well, that'll look good doing it, that'll be comfortable on your feet, that you can be proud to wear, to take care of, and to keep for a very long time if you take care of them, I think El Dorado is worth a look. So y'all give them a look. They're at bootbarn.com, sheplers.com. Again, no affiliation to me. I'm on this channel trying to spread information about things I really like, and these boots happen to be one of them. So God bless y'all. I hope you and your family stay safe out there, and y'all have a great rest of y'all's week.